Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Anne-Marie Loader of Westbury.
Councillor at Meander Valley.
Yes, councillor first term at Meander Valley Council.
Why did you become a councillor?
That is a very good question. How long have you got? So I was basically compelled by a number of my friends to stand for council, and it started off with a little bit of, oh yes, I'll stand for council. And then when the date came around, it was, are you going to do it? And so I said yes. And why? Because I'd been quite vocal about a few things, and I felt it's all very well to say someone should fix it and someone should do that, but sometimes you have to be the someone, don't you? Sometimes you have to say, I'm not happy with the status quo, so I'm going to give this a red hot shot and see if I can be elected, which was totally shocking and stunning that I actually got in. I really tried hard, but I went into it with the idea that I would try really hard, and if the community said yes, great, but if the community said no, fine. Find other ways to be someone who's a voice for community. But yeah, that's the main reason, because I had some opinions and I felt I needed to not just be a voice, but a doer as well. Does that make sense?
Can you talk about the issues that were important to you then and
Yes.
some of the issues that are important to you now?
Yes, I felt that there was a lot going on in council that maybe the rest of the community didn't know about, and I wanted to see more communication and more community involvement in decisions. I'm very concerned about some of the developments that are going on. We seem to be putting more and more concrete down, more and more. We definitely need more houses, I'm not saying we don't, but do we need to have little matchbox style dwellings all over the place, crammed together with lots and lots of concrete? We're losing the drainage. Even here where I live, the fact that there's a development across the road, the swales were all totally full the other day with that big rain, way more than they were before that development. I believe we need to really look after our urban wildlife particularly and make sure that their habitat is there, and I'm just not convinced that the way we're doing things now is good for the future. It might be really great for now, like the developers, let's get it done, but is it really looking forward in the future when so many places now have to do things to mitigate what's been done? I think in the last summer, not this summer, but the previous summer in America, there was a state that had to have cooling buses going around for people to get on buses to be cool. They had to paint some kind of surface on the roads to stop the reflection because it was so hot. We've got the opportunity to design it, stuff it up and then redo it. So I've got lots of opinions on that sort of thing, and I like being on the council to be able to have a bit of a say. Not sure if I'm actually making too much of a difference, because it does feel like we're in a box and we have to make decisions in a certain way, but you can certainly have a bit to say about them. And I'm the queen of writing letters to the state politicians.
Can you talk a bit about what life was like before being a councillor and what it's like now?
Okay, so I've lived in the Meander Valley for, it must be about 17 years now, 18 years. I met my husband, I moved to Montana on the farm, and and here comes one of my cats, and we've been in Westbury for about must be 7-ish years. So I used to think I was busy before I was on the council. I was involved in a number of community groups and volunteered here and there. I'm a distance runner, so I'm always thinking about the next event, and I put my heart and soul into my running training. I'm not a fast runner, but I like to have a crack. So I thought I was really busy. I knew I would be much, much busier, and in fact I spoke to my family and I said, are you okay if I stand for council? Because I know it might sound a little bit funny, but I basically said, if I become a councillor, I get all these new family members. I'm going to be there. I'm not going to be someone who warms a seat and isn't there for the community. So I go to everything I possibly can go to. My diary is now referred to as the force of nature. So I often say, I've just got to consult the force of nature. I used to think I was busy, but this is next level. But I'm a librarian by profession, and obviously librarians like things just so, and neat and well organised. So that's how I do it. I have to be very focused on what I'm doing, and I set time aside for different things. I've dropped half a day of my paid employment per week to enable me to attend meetings and have a bit more time at things. But yeah, my family are all cool with it, and in fact when they want to visit, they say, what's going on in November, for example, and I will send them a screenshot of my calendar and say, when do you reckon? And most of it is fun, Matt. Most of it is fun. Like, people say, do you enjoy it? I still think enjoy isn't the right word. I'm just going to have to tell my cat, Monty, don't be a pain. Most of it, it's not, some things are not enjoyable, some things are really hard. For example, I've just had a holiday in New Zealand visiting family, but I took my computer and had a beautiful view of the remarkable mountains while I was preparing for the council meeting. But no one had a gun at my head. And I think if you're going to do something, you do it with your 100%. You do it with your all, or don't do it.
Are you still doing library work? Is that
yes, I am. Yeah. I work 3.5 days for Libraries Tasmania, and I coordinate the adult literacy service for Meander Valley and Longford. And adult literacy is definitely one of my absolute passions. It is way more than a job. Sometimes the government bureaucracy part can be tedious, but without the bureaucracy we wouldn't have the service. You have to take the good with the bad, but I absolutely love it. I had a client just recently who had been really struggling with a few things, and we had a session this week and the lights went on, and you just go, oh my God, this is so cool to be able to unlock the world of being literate for someone. It's like next level. It's fantastic. There is no reason why anybody in Tasmania should be struggling with reading, writing or numbers when they can come and get the help they need at Libraries Tasmania. It is there. It's not 11 o'clock on a Tuesday for the rest of your life. It's flexible. It's just the most amazing service. And
how do they book it, and how does that work?
You can come into your local library. Yeah. You can ring the reading writing hotline and they will refer you to someone. Sometimes it happens that they'll go, oh my goodness, I know Anne-Marie, I don't want her to know. So they can say, I'd like to talk to Launceston. I've had it happen to me, like other areas have come to talk to me, and then people work with a tutor, volunteer tutors. I've got some amazing people here in Meander Valley who give their time for free to help others in this area. And it's just, there's no excuse. Do it. Come and see me. Adult literacy. Don't let reading and writing hold you back from realising your potential.
Do you have any underappreciated books that you can suggest?
Oh, so libraries are way more than books. Libraries are a community hub, a place where you can go for learning. Any book, if it yanks your chain, is the book to read. I'm currently reading The Web of Meaning by Jeremy Lent, which is all about how life begins, and was recommended by a dear friend. Some interesting theories. I haven't quite got through it all yet, but occasionally I just like to read a bit of chick lit. I just read, what did I read? 4 Bush Weddings. It's like really light, very light. But yeah, any book's a good book. I don't know, any book.
There's a strategic plan for council that covers the next 10 years.
Yeah.
You mentioned urban wildlife and greening or vegetation. Yep. Are there any other things that you would like to see across the Meander Valley?
So the community engagement sessions that happened really brought a lot of ideas in from communities. I'm fully supportive of all the ideas that came in to that plan. There's the draft that's out at the moment. I think it's a plan that really is good for everybody. Like, when you get everybody together and they can give their perspectives, you're more likely to come up with a document that's going to suit most people. But definitely the environmental side of things, caring for what we've got. This is Monty. My cats are contained cats. That's one of my big things at the moment. I really looking forward to the draft cat management plan that NRE is putting out. And as a crazy cat lady, I think cats should be contained and cats should be registered. These boys have got what's affectionately known as the Moggy Mansion, so they don't go out anywhere. Great, Monty, go away. So that's very important to me. But yes, I think the strategic plan as it's coming along is shaping up to be something that is going to be great for all of the community. The big thing that people contact me the most about, which I was totally unprepared for but happy to be contacted, is footpaths. Everybody wants a footpath, and I don't blame them. If you've got a development coming in next door, we need the footpaths. We need it so people can walk and ride their bikes safely around our municipality. So yes, I wasn't really a footpath. I had never really thought about it before, to be honest. I guess I'm able-bodied and I run, and it's never bothered me, but seeing it from the eyes of those people who have contacted me, I think, yeah, we definitely need to make sure we are getting footpaths in the appropriate place.
Have you had any unusual or unexpected experiences while being a councillor? Or
as a councillor, I really appreciate it when I'm out and about and somebody will come up and say, I know you're probably busy, but I just want to talk to you about this. And I go, okay, talk away. I really appreciate when the community come and have a chat about something that's important to them. I always have a pen and a piece of paper with me because I just can't remember otherwise. So I guess I knew that would happen, but it's still a little strange sometimes. That, oh yeah, that's right, I'm a councillor.
You're a bit of a, not a personality, but you're recognised.
So was it last year, the year before last, I moved the motion to raise the rainbow flag on International Day of Homophobia, whatever it is, Ida Hobbitt's Day. Now that came about because quite a few community members contacted me and said that they would really like to see this happen for a range of reasons, mainly around healing nasty things that have gone on in the past and like a positive way to move forward. When I came into being a councillor, I didn't know that I was going to do that, but because I was asked, I did it. So I think I find that humbling, to be really honest, Matt. I find that's just a complete privilege to be able to be in a position where you can make something happen for someone. I got contacted by someone who needed some help with some road safety issues, and I wrote one letter to a particular transport company, and she'd been trying for ages and ages, and I wrote one letter and got it fixed. And I'm thinking, that's weird. That's just the position. And so I think it's humbling, but there's also a lot of responsibility to make sure you use the position within the guidelines. And I take on board the declaration that I made very sincerely. I am a librarian, I follow rules, I acquaint myself of the rules, policies and guidelines. We've recently, over the last year or so, we've had some online training that the Local Government Association of Tasmania has put out. A lot of the things I already knew, but any training that comes out I will willingly do. I think that's really important. I don't know if I've answered your question.
Are there any other councillors that you work a little bit more with?
So I think council is a little bit different to state government. They're always, one side of the house is always slagging off the other. You can't do that in council, because if you want something to happen, you have to have the team. I guess we might not be friends as such, we're definitely colleagues, but I try and get on with everyone, but I'm not afraid to rip off a band-aid or name something up. Difficult conversation, yeah, they don't worry me, not one bit. But yeah, so yeah, I try and get on with everyone. Obviously, I've done a little bit more with Ben with the rainbow flag and also the live stream, because I feel that the live stream of council meetings, because I feel that is an important bit of transparency. I personally don't like it. I get really self-conscious. But it's not about me, it's about the whole and accountability.
You had a lot of community support for you to run for council.
I did.
Would there be support? Would you be interested in other levels of politics?
Absolutely not. My husband would like me to. He keeps on suggesting that I should run for the Senate. My grandfather was a senator, but no, I'm turning 60 this year. Ultimately, what I would love to do is to help some other people in our municipality get on council. I'd love to see some more inclusion, some members of our culturally and linguistically diverse community, of which we have lots. So many citizenship ceremonies of people making that wonderful decision to become an Australian citizen. Our council doesn't reflect that at the moment. We've only got 2 women out of the 9. So I think in an ideal world, I think the more diverse the council is, the more likely you are to make decisions that reflect the whole community. I think.
What's your favourite part of town?
Favourite part of the municipality? Oh, geez, I have to say the whole bit. My favourite part of our municipality would have to be the walls of Jerusalem National Park. I love it. It's like the most amazing place. Have you been? Oh my goodness, because Paul and I my husband, we like to train for seriously long distance events. We will put that on our list as a training. We don't run up that great big hill to start off with. We walk up that bit, but we'll go for a bit of a trip through the walls. It is stunningly beautiful. People come from all over the country to see it. When I was there last, went on a training day before February. I was supposed to finish a 50k ultra, but yeah, that didn't happen because I fell over. I asked every single person I saw, where did you come from? Not one Tasmanian on that particular day. All people from the mainland or overseas. And it's our backyard and it's beautiful. I'm a rep on the Great Western Tiers Tourism Association for council, and they've done a lot of work on getting 5 short walks up and really promoted and recognised. And we really are the short walks capital of Tasmania. You can base yourself in Deloraine and go on a little walk or a long walk. They're beautiful. Walls of Jerusalem is not one of those 5 walks, but it's stunning. So I have to say, I think that's a safe bet to say that's one of my favourite places. And of course, just going up into the tiers, Lady Lake Hut, Mother Cummings Peak, Quamby Bluff, those places are just magic. We are so lucky because we hardly have to drive any distance to go to these places.
Is that something that council or the Tourism Association is going to work on over time?
So yes, there's 5 short walks and there's a bit of a project going on. It's been going on for a very long time, but hopefully it will come to fruition soon. You can go to our fabulous visitors centre in Deloraine and find out about them, and there's a QR, like on the wall there's a QR code and it shows you which ones they are and how to get there and what you need and what grade they are, because it's important when you go bushwalking to make sure you know that you're fit enough to do it and you've got the right equipment.
Can you talk a little bit more about the ultra marathon? Can you talk a bit about how you got into it and what that involves?
Okay, so when I first married my husband, he was 50 and we were on the farm, and he said, I like to go running, and would you come into town with me and I'll run with the Launceston Athletic Club? And he said, you could just wait for me while I run. And I thought, oh my goodness, I'm a doer. I don't like waiting. And I thought, I better have a little try at this running thing. So our driveway on the farm was 1.2 kilometres. So I tried for 6 months to run. I hated running. I hated sport. I never played sport, ever. Not even at school. I only did the stuff you had to do. I love walking, but I love bushwalking. So anyway, it took me 6 months to get to the top of the driveway. I was so elated. It's, oh my God, I've done this amazing thing. I have run 1.2 kilometres, and our dairy was halfway down. So I walked back and I went into the dairy, Paul was milking cows, and said, I ran the driveway. And he'd go, yay! He would come with me. He'd have his flanny and his jeans on. He'd take his gumboots off and put running shoes on. And I'd be struggling up the driveway. And he'd say, oh, I've just got to go and fix that fence. And he'd go, oh. That's how I started. And I just kept building up and building up. And then Paul is friends with some people in Launceston who have a running shoe shop. And they put on Facebook that park run was coming. And I looked at it and I said to Paul, this might be really good. So we started going to park run. Do you know about park run? Yeah, went to park run. And I met all these other people who are runners, and we were running 5Ks. I can run 5Ks, what else can I do? So then I just built up. So that was a long time ago, but I've now done 18 marathons and 7 ultras, and I can tell you the number because we watched the Olympics, and Paul goes, how many of these things do you reckon we've done? And I said, I've got no idea. So we looked back and worked it out. So he's done a few more than me. My longest is a 72k ultra, and Paul's, that was at Lake Taupo in New Zealand, and Paul's done Tarawera 100 in New Zealand. I love Tasmania, but if you run ultras in Tasmania, you've got to cope with the leeches, the jack jumpers and the snakes. But in New Zealand, they have nothing out to kill you. Nothing, not even spiders. I have never been so elated in all my life. It took me 12 hours and 40 minutes, but I got to the last cutoff and I had 4 hours. So you had to get to a cutoff by a certain time. And I was there 4 hours before the cutoff, and there was a sports team of beautiful Maori girls, and they're like, yay! And I burst into tears and said, oh my God, I've made it. I love running. I'm not fast, but that's how I got into it. I probably told you more. So you can tell I'm passionate about running, passionate about adult literacy, and I'm really passionate about looking after community, particularly people who don't have a voice. They're my 3 things that make me get excited.